Imagine waking up each day knowing unseen rules quietly govern your every breath. The dawn light slips softly through a small wooden window, dust motes drifting lazily in the pale glow. The air is cool, tinged with the faint scent of smoke from a nearby hearth and the earthiness of damp straw beneath your thin woolen blanket. Outside, roosters crow, and the low murmur of early voices from neighbors beginning their day stirs gently through the village. You stretch slowly, feeling the rough texture of your homespun tunic against your skin, a reminder that your place in this world is shaped not only by your birth, but by laws you barely see. Laws woven into every moment of your life, quietly, shaping who you are and what you may become. As you rise, the sounds grow, the clatter of wooden wheels on dirt roads, the soft bleating of sheep, and the distant clang of a blacksmith hammering. The village is waking, but for you, today is like every other day, shaped by rules older than your mother's mother. Rules that decide what you may do, where you may go, and even what you may wear. These laws aren't just words in a book. They are the invisible hands that guide your daily steps from the moment you were named until the day you might pass from this life. They determine your freedom, your safety, your very identity. You move through your small home, walls darkened by smoke, floors strewn with rushes, a single wooden table bearing a simple clay bowl. The scent of stale bread lingers. Outside, the village is surrounded by fields and forests, each patch marked by customs and laws that decide who can pick which herbs, who may hunt, who must labor. Your life is bound tightly to this land and its rules, as are the lives of the women before you. It's a world where every action, every choice is watched, measured, and often controlled by those who write these laws. Pause for a moment. Imagine the weight of that, living under laws you do not make, yet which touch every part of your existence. What does freedom feel like when even your body is not entirely your own? These questions are not just history, they were the reality for countless women who walked these village paths, who whispered prayers beneath the stars, who worked, loved, and struggled within the walls of their homes and the boundaries set by their society. The village is beginning to stir fully now, with the faint sound of a church bell ringing in the distance, a reminder of yet another set of laws, spiritual this time, that shape your days. As you prepare to face the world outside your door, you carry with you the invisible weight of the law. Laws about your birth, your body, your marriage, your work, and your voice. They are woven into the fabric of daily life, often unnoticed, but deeply felt. In this calm morning light, you might wonder, how did these laws come to govern so much of a woman's life? What stories lie hidden beneath the surface of these rules, behind the voices of those who made and enforced them? And what was it truly like to live bound by them, to find moments of grace, resistance, or hope amid restriction? We'll journey together through these questions, stepping gently into the shoes of medieval women, commoners and nobles, daughters and mothers, wives and widows, listening to their lives shaped by law. You won't just hear history, you'll feel it, breathe it, live it, as if you were there beneath the same sky. If you've ever paused to think about what freedom means, or how much the rules around us shape our lives in ways we barely notice, I invite you now to reflect quietly on this. What freedoms do you hold dear? How might life feel if laws governed even the smallest parts of your day? If you feel moved to share your thoughts, or if you'd like to hear more stories like this, gently press subscribe or leave a comment when you're ready. These stories are not just about the past. They are conversations we carry forward. Now, as the village fully awakens and the first tasks call you forth, take a slow, deep breath. Feel the cool morning air, hear the waking world, and step softly into this journey through time and law, where every woman's life was a story written by the invisible hand of medieval law. The moment you enter the world is not just a beginning. It is the first step into a life shaped by laws that will follow you always. Imagine the soft cry of a newborn piercing the stillness of a humble cottage, the flickering glow of a candle casting shadows on rough wooden walls. The air is thick with the mingled scents of straw, herbs, and the damp earth outside. Around, You hushed voices murmur prayers and blessings while a midwife's gentle hands soothe and clean you, her touch firm yet tender. This is your first introduction, not only to breath and warmth, but to a world where your very name and place are governed by unseen rules. From the moment you are born, your identity is already tied to those who claim you. Your father, your family, your future husband. In this time, your name is more than a label. It is a key that locks or unlocks your place in society. Naming is a sacred and deliberate act, often performed during baptism, when you are officially brought into the Christian community. The priest's voice, calm and steady, declares your name aloud. This name linking you to saints, ancestors, and the lineage of your family. It is a name that will mark you for life, a name that carries expectations and responsibilities. Inheritance laws quietly rule your future. Unlike your brothers or male cousins, your right to property, titles, or even a voice in family affairs is limited, often passing through male relatives. You belong legally first to your father's household and later perhaps to your husband's. The law sees you as part of a chain, your identity defined less by who you are and more by the men to whom you belong. Your autonomy is bound by these ties even before you understand what they mean. Picture the celebrations and solemn rituals that mark your entrance into the community. Your family may offer gifts or hold feasts, not just for joy, but to announce your arrival to neighbors and kin. Yet beneath the warmth and laughter lies the weight of expectation. Will you be a daughter who brings a useful marriage alliance? Will you bear sons to continue the family name? Your birth is not only a personal moment, it is a legal event, setting the course of your life within the web of social and familial obligations. You may hear whispers of the law's reach even in the choices allowed to your parents. If you are born out of wedlock, your status is even more fragile, marked by stigma and limited rights. The church's rules and local customs blend, determining whether you might be acknowledged or cast aside. Your very existence becomes a matter of legal debate. Who claims you? What rights you hold? What protections are granted? As you grow, your identity will be shaped again and again by law. Your father's name shields or restricts you. Your future husband's name may replace your own entirely. In documents and contracts, your name might appear only in relation to these men, erasing your individuality in the eyes of the law. This is the reality for most women in medieval life, a world where the law both defines and confines. Consider the sensory world around you in those early days. The texture of linen swaddling you tightly, the warmth of a cradle beside the hearth, the distant toll of church bells marking time and ritual. All these elements are steeped in the cultural and legal order that governs your life from the very start. The village and parish watch closely, each baptism a small but significant affirmation of social order and belonging. Pause for a moment and think about your own name, how it connects you to family, culture, or history. Imagine carrying a name that determines where you can go, who you can marry, and what you can own. What weight would that name hold? How might it bind or protect you? Names are more than words. They are stories, legacies, laws made flesh. If this reflection stirs something in you, perhaps you'll share what your own name means or how it has shaped your sense of self. The threads of identity, law, and belonging weave through every life, then as now, and each name holds a story worth telling. As we move forward, keep this thought with you, the power and burden carried in a single name, and let it guide us gently into the next part of our journey, where childhood and education further reveal how laws shape a woman's life from the earliest moments. Sigh. You step further into childhood. The world around you takes shape in small, familiar rhythms, morning light filtering through rough wooden shutters, the scent of baking bread mingling with the crispness of fresh herbs hanging to dry. The sounds of bustling village life rise and fall, the low murmur of women at work, children's laughter echoing down narrow streets, the distant crow of a rooster. This is the setting of your early years, a time when your world is bounded not just by walls and fields, but by laws and customs that quietly dictate what you may learn, what work you must do, and who you are meant to become. In these days, your upbringing is guided by more than love or family hopes. It is shaped by tradition and law, often different depending on whether you are born to noble blood or common folk. For noble girls, education might include lessons in reading, embroidery, and the skills needed to run a household or manage estates. Yet even then, legal limits circumscribe what you may claim. Inheritance laws often favor your brothers, and your future marriage is arranged to strengthen family alliances rather than personal choice. The lessons you receive are designed to prepare you to serve others, to uphold family honor, and to fit within the strict social order. For girls born to common families, education is far less formal, usually learned by watching and helping the women around you. You might rise with the sun to fetch water, tend animals, help with cooking, and learn the secrets of herbs and healing, passed down through generations. Reading and writing are rare privileges, generally reserved for boys or those destined for the church. Your lessons come from everyday life, careful observation, listening to stories by the hearth, and mastering practical skills needed to survive and support your family. Laws and customs often reinforce these roles, limiting access to property or formal schooling, making knowledge something precious and elusive. Imagine the texture of the linen dress you wear, rough yet warm, the smell of wood smoke from the fire that cooks your family's meal. Feel the cool clay of the floor beneath your bare feet, the sound of a spinning wheel weaving wool for winter garments. These simple details compose the sensory world where your education unfolds, not in grand halls but in humble homes, open fields, and village gatherings. Every task, every lesson, carries the weight of expectation and the subtle enforcement of law. You watch as your brothers are given tools to learn to read or train in trades, while your own lessons are often confined to the domestic arts. The law's shadow is long. Property rights often exclude you, meaning your future depends on marriage or the goodwill of male relatives. Yet within these limits you find small moments of learning, listening to a traveling preacher, copying letters on scraps of parchment, or quietly absorbing the stories and wisdom shared among women. Family and community laws also shape your early responsibilities. You may be called upon to help care for younger siblings or elderly relatives, work alongside your mother in the fields or market, or learn the customs that govern behavior and reputation. These duties are not merely chores. They are part of the social fabric that binds you, teaching you how to navigate a world where your worth is measured by service, obedience, and the ability to uphold family honor. In noble households, your days might be filled with lessons on courtly manners, preparing you to enter a world of alliances and politics. For common girls, life is a constant balancing act between survival and learning, with laws ensuring that property and power stay firmly in male hands. Your dreams and ambitions are shaped by this reality, your path both guided and constrained by rules that rarely consider your voice or desires. Pause for a moment and consider, if your access to knowledge was dictated by law, what would you hope to learn? What stories, skills, or truths would you seek out? Education is a door, sometimes closed, sometimes ajar, offering freedom or reinforcing chains. Your thoughts on this matter carry weight and invite reflection. If this question stirs your curiosity or memories, perhaps you will share your thoughts or experiences. How does education shape freedom in your life? What lessons have opened doors for you, and which have felt like walls? As the sun moves higher and the village hums with life, keep these questions with you. In the next part of our journey, we will explore the complex world of marriage, where law and love meet, and where a woman's autonomy is most deeply tested. The day you are promised to another is one heavy with both hope and quiet tension, wrapped in layers of expectation and law. Imagine standing in a small, candle-lit chamber, the scent of burning tallow mingling with the faint aroma of herbs hung too dry. Your hands tremble ever so slightly as voices murmur around you. The steady, measured tones of your father, the cautious words of a trusted family elder, and the distant echoes of church bells calling for prayer. This moment, while deeply personal, is also governed by invisible chains woven by law and custom, dictating not only your future, but the very essence of your being. Marriage in the medieval world is not simply a union of two hearts. It is a legal contract, a bond binding families, property, and power. Your consent, though spoken aloud, is often less a declaration of personal choice and more a formality, sometimes assumed rather than freely given. The law requires consent, yet the pressures of family, duty, and social expectation weigh heavily, making true choice a rare luxury. You may wonder as you stand there how much your voice truly matters when the future of alliances and fortunes rests on this one promise. Your family has prepared a dowry, gifts of goods, money, or land, offered not just as a gesture of goodwill, but as a crucial part of the legal arrangement. This dowry serves many purposes. It secures your husband's interests, binds families together, and sometimes offers you a degree of protection. Yet, it is also a reminder that marriage is as much about property as it is about partnership. The dowry may safeguard your status or be used as leverage in disputes, but it also marks you as a commodity in the eyes of law. The presence of a guardian, often your father or another male relative, adds another layer to this web of control. Legally, until marriage, you are under the protection and authority of a guardian who speaks for you and manages your affairs. Marriage transfers this guardianship to your husband, shifting your legal identity further away from your own hands. This transfer is not just symbolic. It changes your rights, your responsibilities, and your place in society. You are now expected to serve, obey, and uphold the honor of your husband's household. Picture the moment your hand is taken, the touch firm yet not unkind, as the priest asks if you consent to this union. The flicker of candlelight dances across faces, some hopeful, others guarded. Your heart may be full of dreams, doubts, or quiet resistance, but the law asks only for your assent. The vows exchanged are not just promises, but legal bonds with consequences for your body, your property, and your voice. Marriage laws dictate much of your daily life. Your husband gains legal rights over your person and your possessions. Your ability to make decisions independently shrinks, replaced by a duty to support and obey. Should disputes arise, the law often sides with your husband, reflecting the wider social order that places men as heads of households and women as dependents. Even your reputation becomes fragile, tied to your conduct as a wife, with laws punishing infidelity or disobedience harshly. Yet, within these constraints, women found ways to navigate their worlds. Some wielded influence quietly, managing estates, or acting as negotiators in family affairs. Widows in particular could regain some legal autonomy, managing property and even remarrying on their own terms. Still, the overarching framework of marriage law shaped the possibilities and limits of every woman's life, drawing clear lines between dependence and power. Take a moment now to reflect on what marriage means to you. How different is it from this medieval contract of law and duty? How much do laws still influence personal relationships today? These questions invite us to consider the enduring impact of legal structures on our most intimate bonds. If this reflection stirs something within you, feel free to share your thoughts or stories about how laws or traditions have shaped your own experiences of love and commitment. In the gentle unfolding of these histories, we find connections across time and space, reminding us that behind every legal text are real lives, full of hope, struggle, and resilience. As the candle flickers, low and the voices quiet, imagine stepping softly from this moment into the next chapter, where the laws that govern property and work reveal more about the everyday realities of medieval women. Women whose lives were shaped by law as much as by love and labor. You awaken with the first pale light filtering through a narrow window, the soft sounds of the village stirring around you. The smell of fresh bread baking mingles with the earthy scent of damp stone and timber. Your hands, roughened by years of work, brush the sleep from your eyes as you prepare for the day ahead. Today, like every day, you will rise early to tend to your tasks, some at home, some in the bustling market, others in the quiet hum of the workshop where you help craft tools, textiles, or food. Your life is shaped by the rhythm of labor, but beneath this daily toil lies a complex web of laws that quietly govern what you can own, what you can earn, and how you may support yourself and your family. In theory, the law states that property belongs primarily to men, fathers, husbands, brothers. Women's rights to own land or goods are severely limited, often dependent on their relationship to these male figures. You may have heard the legal phrases spoken in hushed tones: coverture, where a woman's legal identity is merged with her husband's upon marriage, or dower, the portion of property a widow may claim for her support. Yet daily life tells a more nuanced story. While laws may restrict formal ownership, women like you work tirelessly, managing household economies, selling goods in the market, and sometimes running small businesses under the watchful eyes of the guilds or local officials. Your morning begins with tending the hearth, ensuring the fire burns steady and the family's meals are prepared. The texture of warm dough beneath your fingers, the scent of herbs steeping in water for remedies, these are familiar comforts but also part of the unpaid labor expected of you. You move swiftly then to the market, carrying baskets filled with eggs, vegetables, or handmade cloth. The chatter of traders and neighbors surrounds you, the clink of coins exchanged, the rustle of cloth and leather. You barter carefully, knowing every penny matters. Despite your efforts, the law often denies you full control over what you earn. Your husband or father may claim the profits, deciding how to spend or save. If you are unmarried or widowed, the rules shift slightly. Widows sometimes inherit their husband's property and manage it independently. A rare but significant exception that grants a taste of freedom and responsibility. Yet even then, your status is precarious, dependent on community approval and legal documents that can be challenged or ignored. Imagine the delicate balance you keep, juggling family duties with economic contributions, all under the watchful gaze of neighbors and officials. Your reputation as a hardworking, honest woman protects you, but any misstep, selling without permission, trading forbidden goods, could bring legal trouble or social disgrace. Laws about who may trade, what goods are allowed, and how markets operate restrict your opportunities, making every decision a careful negotiation between survival and risk. At home, you manage the household stores, tracking what comes in and what goes out. The weight of responsibility presses on you, not just for your own well-being but for the entire family. You teach younger children the skills they will need, passing down knowledge that the law may not protect, but that life demands. You know the importance of alliances with other women, sharing goods, lending support, exchanging advice, a quiet network that helps soften the harsh edges of legal restrictions. Throughout the day, your hands craft and create, sewing garments, mending tools, preparing food. Each action is both a necessity and an act of resilience, asserting your value beyond legal definitions. The law may not recognize you as an independent economic agent, but you embody the vital work that sustains your community. The contrast between legal theory and lived reality is clear. Laws set limits, but your daily life is filled with creativity, negotiation, and quiet strength. Pause for a moment to consider your own work and worth. How would it feel if the law denied you control over your earnings, over the fruits of your labor? What would it mean for your sense of self, your freedom, your place in your family or community? These questions reach beyond history. They touch something deeply human and timeless. If these reflections move you, I invite you to share your thoughts. How does economic freedom shape your life? What challenges or protections have defined your own relationship to work and property? As the day fades and the village quiets once more, hold these questions softly. In our next chapter, we will explore how laws shaped women's behavior and morality, and how these rules governed not only what women did, but who they were allowed to be. The village square is alive with murmurs and whispers, a mix of curiosity and judgment swirling through the cool morning air. Imagine standing at the edge of the crowd, your heart beating quietly beneath the weight of eyes that scrutinize every movement, every word. Around you, the smell of damp earth mingles with the faint scent of burning wood from nearby hearths, and the distant toll of the church bell punctuates the tension. Today is not a day like others. Today, a woman stands accused, her fate entwined with the laws that govern not only her actions but her very existence. In medieval times, laws did not simply protect or punish. They shaped the very fabric of what was deemed acceptable behavior. For women, from the clothes you wear to the words you speak, every detail is watched and measured against strict codes of morality. Dress codes, often dictated by law or custom, mark your status and virtue. Simple woolen garments or richly embroidered silks speak volumes, but even the color or cut might be regulated. No commoner could wear the finery reserved for nobility. These rules are not merely about fashion. They are about controlling how you are seen and, by extension, how you may live. Public conduct is equally constrained. Laws and community expectations demand modesty, obedience, and silence, especially for women. To speak too loudly, to laugh too freely, or to be seen unaccompanied might draw suspicion or scorn. These unwritten codes are enforced as surely as any legal decree, binding you to a role carefully defined and policed by both authorities and neighbors. The fear of gossip, punishment, or worse hangs over every step. Accusations like adultery or witchcraft carry particularly severe consequences. Imagine a chilly autumn day when you hear the bells ring urgently, summoning the villagers to the square. A woman stands before the crowd, her hands bound, eyes wide with fear and defiance. The local lord or magistrate presides, reading charges aloud. In this world, such accusations often stem from fear, jealousy, or misunderstanding. But they are backed by laws that can condemn without mercy. Witchcraft, in particular, is a charge that intertwines superstition with legal power, often wielded against women who defy norms or live on society's edges. The trial is not just a legal proceeding, it is a public spectacle, a moment where a woman's identity, honor, and very life hang in the balance. The crowd watches, whispers spreading like wildfire, some expressing sympathy, others eager to see justice done. The accused woman may plead her innocence, but the law and the community's judgment weigh heavily. Punishments range from fines and public shaming to imprisonment or worse, and these consequences ripple through families and friendships, altering lives irrevocably. Living under such constant scrutiny exacts a profound emotional toll. The knowledge that every glance might harbor judgment, every word be twisted, creates an atmosphere of fear and caution. You learn to walk carefully, to speak softly, to hide your thoughts behind measured expressions. The law becomes not just a set of rules, but a presence in your mind, shaping your sense of safety, identity, and self-worth. Yet, even within this harsh world, women find ways to resist and survive. Some cultivate quiet alliances, sharing knowledge and support. Others assert their dignity through acts of kindness, resilience, or courage, reclaiming small spaces of freedom in a world that often denies them. The tension between control and autonomy is a constant undercurrent, shaping the texture of daily life. Take a moment now, in the quiet of your own space, to reflect on how public judgment influences personal freedom. How do laws and social expectations shape who you are allowed to be? Have you ever felt the weight of societal control or witnessed its impact on someone you know? If these thoughts stir within you, consider sharing your stories or reflections. In understanding the past, we may better grasp the subtle ways in which power and judgment continue to shape lives today. As the village settles once more, the echoes of the day's trial fading into memory, we prepare to explore the sacred and restrictive world of religion, the laws of faith that both comforted and confined medieval women, offering sanctuary and limitation in equal measure. In the quiet hush of a nursery warmed by a flickering hearth, you cradle your newborn close, feeling the soft rise and fall of tiny breaths against your chest. The scent of beeswax candles mingles with the faint sweetness of fresh linen, and outside the village hums gently with life. In this tender moment, your heart swells with love and fierce protectiveness. Yet, even here, the laws of your world press upon you, defining your rights, your responsibilities, and sometimes the limits of your own maternal bond. Motherhood in the medieval age is woven tightly with legal threads that both support and constrain. From the moment a child is born, questions of custody and guardianship arise, not simply from love or care, but from laws that dictate who holds authority over the child. If you are married, your husband legally becomes the primary guardian of your offspring, with rights to make decisions about their upbringing and inheritance. Your role, though vital and deeply felt, is often secondary in the eyes of the law, bound to your position within the household. Imagine the weight of this reality, loving your child fiercely, yet knowing that the law may grant you limited say in their future. Should circumstances change, if you become a widow, for example, These dynamics shift, sometimes granting you greater control over your children and property. Widowed mothers could act as guardians, managing estates and making choices for their family, a responsibility both empowering and daunting in a world still ruled largely by men. Inheritance laws add another layer of complexity to your role. Your children's future depends on legal customs that often favor sons over daughters or prioritize male relatives. Your own status may influence what your children receive, a delicate dance of alliances, dowries, and family negotiations that affect not just property but survival and social standing. You learn early that motherhood is not only about nurturing, but also about navigating these legal landscapes to protect and provide for your family. The emotional reality of motherhood is deeply intertwined with these legal structures. Love and law coexist uneasily, creating moments of profound joy shadowed by uncertainty. You may find comfort in community rituals, baptisms, naming ceremonies, blessings that affirm your child's place in both family and faith. Yet, you also carry the quiet fear of loss, the possibility of disputes over custody, the fragility of your child's future, and the ever-present watchfulness of neighbors and officials. Picture the daily rhythms of family life, preparing simple meals, soothing cries through the night, teaching your child the customs and stories that will guide them. The soft rustle of fabric as you wrap a swaddled infant, the warmth of a shared hearth, the laughter of siblings playing under the watchful eye of elders. These moments are your sanctuary, yet always touched by the knowledge that the law shapes even the most intimate bonds. Despite these pressures, motherhood also offers sources of strength and agency. Through caring for your children, you pass down traditions, skills, and resilience. Your love becomes a quiet form of resistance, a force that shapes lives beyond legal definitions. In this way, law and love intertwine, sometimes in tension, sometimes in harmony, forming the fabric of your family's story. Pause now and think about the bonds of family in your own life. How do laws and social customs shape the ways you care for and protect those you love? Have you felt the push and pull between personal affection and external rules? These reflections connect us across centuries, reminding us of the enduring complexity of family and love. If this moment moves you, I invite you to share your memories or thoughts. How do laws intersect with family in your own experience? What stories of care and challenge resonate with you? As the day draws to a close and the village quiets once more, hold these tender truths softly. Our journey continues into the realm of faith and spirit, where religious laws offered sanctuary, guidance, and sometimes new restrictions for medieval women seeking meaning and solace. The heavy wooden doors of the village church creak open, releasing a cool breath of incense and candle smoke into the quiet morning air. Inside, the soft flicker of countless candles casts gentle shadows on stone walls worn smooth by centuries of prayer. The scent of aged wood mingles with that of polished metal and delicate flowers placed before statues of saints. Here, in this sacred space, you find a moment of calm, a refuge from the world's demands and the strict laws that govern your life. Yet, even within these holy walls, the reach of church laws shapes who you are and how you move through the days. Religion, in the medieval world, is more than belief. It is a force intertwined with law and custom, influencing everything from your duties to your freedoms. The church's teachings define morality, dictate behavior, and provide a framework for understanding your place in the world. Spiritual expectations shape your daily routine, prayers at dawn and dusk, fasting during sacred seasons, attending Mass regularly, rituals that offer comfort, community, and a sense of purpose. For some women, especially those seeking an alternative to marriage or constrained lives, the convent offers sanctuary. Imagine walking through cloistered gardens, the soft rustle of habits brushing against stone pathways, the quiet murmur of chanting filling the air. Here, within these walls, you live under ecclesiastical laws that regulate dress, speech, and daily tasks, but also grant a measure of autonomy and respect. As a nun, you might manage estates, educate novices, or care for the sick, roles imbued with both spiritual significance and practical responsibility. Yet this refuge is not without its restrictions. The vows you take of chastity, poverty, and obedience bind you tightly to the Church's authority. The choice to enter religious life is often less a personal calling and more a family decision, shaped by social and economic pressures. The Church's laws also limit women's roles outside convents, prescribing modesty, obedience, and silence, and sometimes denying access to positions of power or learning. In parish life, your relationship to religion is woven through daily existence. The rhythm of the church calendar marks time, offering moments of celebration, penitence, and reflection. Community gatherings for festivals and holy days reinforce social bonds, but also remind you of the Church's watchful eye. Confession, for example, is both a spiritual practice and a form of social control, compelling you to confess sins that may include breaches of behavior dictated by law and custom. Imagine the sensory world of these sacred moments. The cool touch of holy water, the echo of hymns rising beneath vaulted ceilings, the flicker of candle flames casting light on faces bowed in prayer. These experiences provide solace but also remind you of boundaries. What is permitted and what is forbidden, who may speak and who must listen. Pause for a moment and reflect on your own experiences with faith and ritual. Have you found comfort in traditions that ground you? Or have you felt constrained by expectations that limit your freedom? Faith can be both sanctuary and restriction, a paradox that echoes through centuries. If these thoughts stir within you, I invite you to share quietly, perhaps in your own time or space, how faith shapes your life. Do rituals bring peace, or do they sometimes feel like chains? Your reflections connect us across time, revealing the complex ways belief and law intertwine. As the candles burn low and the church settles into stillness, we prepare to close this chapter and gently move toward the final reflections on how the invisible threads of law have shaped the lives of women throughout history, weaving restraint and resilience into their stories. Invisible threads run through the fabric of your days, unseen but unyielding. These are the laws that shape your every step. Imagine walking through the fields just beyond your village, the gentle breeze brushing your hair, the soft crunch of grass beneath your feet, the distant hum of life continuing all around. Though you cannot see these threads, you feel their quiet presence, guiding and restraining, weaving the pattern of your life from birth to the final breath. This is the world of medieval law, ever present and intimate, shaping who you are in ways both visible and subtle. From the moment you were born, from the naming and baptism that marked your place in the world, through the years of childhood, education, marriage, work, and motherhood, laws have been your companions. They dictated what you could own, who you could marry, how you should behave, and where you might find sanctuary. Yet within these constraints, you and countless women like you found ways to live, to love, to resist quietly, and to hold on to dignity and hope. Think of the small acts of resistance woven into daily life. A whispered word in defiance, a tear, secret knowledge passed between women, a skill mastered in spite of limits. These moments are the stitches that hold together the tapestry of resilience. When the law closed doors, women found windows, bending rules where they could, claiming spaces where they might exercise control, however limited. Widows managed estates, market women negotiated sales, mothers taught their children traditions and survival. In these acts, the law was not an all-encompassing cage, but a challenge to be met with courage and grace. Reflect on the tender complexities of love and family, where law and affection intertwined uneasily. Laws shaped custody and inheritance, but love transcended legal bounds, nurturing bonds that no decree could sever. In convents, some women found both refuge and restriction, a paradox of sanctuary and obedience that defined their spiritual and social lives. These stories reveal a world where law and humanity coexist, sometimes in tension, sometimes in harmony. As you breathe in this history, notice how the past's complexity mirrors our present. Laws and rules continue to shape our lives, sometimes visible, often unseen, influencing how we move through the world and how we understand ourselves. The struggles and resilience of medieval women echo in modern quests for autonomy, justice, and respect. Their stories invite us to look gently at our own lives and the laws that guide us. asking what freedoms we cherish and what constraints we still face. Now, as we pause together in this shared space of reflection, I invite you to hold these stories softly in your heart. What surprised you? What touched you? What questions linger, inviting further thought? If you feel moved, please share your reflections or stories. Your voice adds richness to this ongoing conversation between past and present. And if you would like to continue walking these paths through time, hearing more stories that blend history, empathy, and calm reflection, please subscribe gently so we may meet again in the quiet moments of discovery and rest. As the day ends and the world grows still, may you carry with you the quiet strength of those who lived under invisible laws, whose resilience shaped history in ways often unseen but deeply felt. In this, there is hope. Hope for understanding, for progress, and for the gentle unfolding of freedom, one story at a time.